The town of Ravenshade was not on any tourist map. Hidden between thick forests and gray rivers, it looked like a place untouched by time. Wooden houses leaned against each other like tired men, narrow cobblestone streets twisted without direction, and at night, fog covered everything like a white coffin lid. Aria, a young woman in her late 20s, had not wanted to return here. She had left Ravenshade years ago after her mother's death, escaping to the city in hopes of building a new life. But the call came suddenly. Her aunt, the last family she had left, passed away, leaving her the old mansion on Hollow End Street. The townsfolk whispered about that house. They called it cursed. They said her aunt used to sit by the windows at night, whispering to someone unseen. Children claimed they heard piano music playing when no one was inside. Aria didn't believe in curses, but she did believe in family obligations. She had no choice but to return. When she unlocked the heavy wooden door, the house greeted her with a sound like the faint lingering chord of a piano note. It was strange, because there was no piano inside. That first night was uneasy. Ravenshade was silent, too silent compared to the city she was used to. She walked through the mansion's dusty halls, holding a candle, and her footsteps echoed against the walls. In her aunt's bedroom, she found a small journal. Most pages were filled with strange writings, short verses, single words repeated over and over, like someone trying to remember a forgotten language. On the last page, one sentence was written in bold, almost carved into the paper. "The Sinphony is not played, it is lived." Aria frowned. Was it supposed to mean symphony? Was it just a mistake, or something else entirely? At exactly midnight, she woke to the sound of music. Soft piano notes drifted through the house. Her heart pounded as she followed the sound into the parlor. The room was empty, except for a mirror that seemed too large, too dark. When she approached, the music stopped. And then, just for a breath of a second, she saw her aunt's reflection in the mirror, standing behind her. Over the next few days, the town began to show its strangeness. Neighbors avoided her, whispering when she passed. An old shopkeeper warned her, "Leave that house, child. The Sinphony always takes what it's owed." When Aria asked what he meant, the old man shut his mouth and refused to speak again. The journal became her obsession. She stayed up at night, flipping through the scattered words. Some of them started making sense, like notes on a sheet of music. The phrases looked like instructions, a composition. The Sinphony wasn't just music. It was ritual. One night, when the fog was thickest, she sat in front of the mirror again. She whispered, "Show me." And the mirror obeyed. Her reflection's lips moved, but not in sync with hers. A voice, soft, broken, trembling like the strings of a violin, filled the room. "You are chosen the next conductor." The air grew colder. Behind her, though no one was there, footsteps echoed. Aria discovered that the Sinphony was older than Ravenshade itself. Her aunt's notes spoke of a ritual song passed down for generations, binding the town in silence and fear. Once every few decades, someone had to carry the burden of the Sinphony. The conductor didn't just play music, they lived it, suffered it, and gave themselves to it. Her aunt had been the last conductor. And now, Aria was marked as the next. The house began to change around her. At night, the walls seemed to breathe. Doors opened to hallways that didn't exist during the day. The mirror showed her visions, people long dead, their faces pale, their mouths sewn shut, yet their eyes begging her to listen. She tried to escape, driving toward the city, but every road bent back into Ravenshade. The town wouldn't let her go. The Sinphony had already chosen her. The night of the blood moon arrived. The journal had warned of it. When the sky burns red, the Sinphony will demand its stage. Aria sat in the parlor, the mirror before her, as the piano music swelled from nowhere and everywhere. Her aunt appeared again, but not as herself. Her flesh peeled back, her bones rattling like wind chimes. "You must conduct," the voice whispered. Her hands rose without her will, moving as if pulling invisible strings. The house shook. From the shadows, figures emerged, dozens of townsfolk with hollow eyes, their bodies jerking like marionettes. They moved in rhythm, a grotesque dance. Aria screamed, but her voice became part of the music, woven into the Sinphony. Every note was pain, Every chord was blood. At the crescendo, she realized the truth. The Sinphony was not a performance, it was a prison. By finishing it, she sealed her fate. The last sound was silence. And Aria was gone. The townsfolk returned to their homes, their whispers quieter now. The Sinphony had its new conductor. Ravenshade was never the same after that night. The townsfolk pretended nothing happened. But they knew. They always knew. The fog grew heavier, the nights longer, and in hollow and street, the mansion stood with a new keeper inside. Aria was no longer herself. She was the vessel of the Sinphony. People swore they saw her silhouette at the window, standing in the candlelight, swaying as if conducting unseen musicians. Sometimes, music spilled into the streets, haunting piano notes, violins screeching in sorrow, drums echoing like heartbeats. But no one dared to knock on her door. No one dared to listen too closely. They feared that if they did, they would be pulled into the Sinphony themselves. Only one boy, the blacksmith's son, was brave or foolish enough. One evening, he crept to the mansion with curiosity. He pressed his ear to the window and heard a woman weeping inside. When he looked through the glass, he didn't see Aria. He saw dozens of faces staring back, faces of people long dead. Their eyes rolled toward him in unison, and their mouths opened in a silent scream. The boy never spoke again. Aria's nights were no longer her own. Each evening, she woke to the pull of the music. Her body moved without her will, her arms rising, her fingers twitching like they were pulling strings. She felt the town's souls inside her chest, heavy and suffocating. The mirror was now her only companion. Her aunt's face appeared often, smiling with cruel satisfaction. "You see, child," the reflection whispered, "the Sinphony must always play. You cannot escape it, only feed it." Aria fought it at first. She smashed chairs, tore pages from the journal, and even tried to shatter the mirror. But each morning, everything returned to its place, unbroken, as if the house itself was alive and mocking her. One night, she screamed into the empty halls. "Why me? Why not them?" The answer came, not in words but in sound, a single sharp violin note that rattled her bones. She understood. The Sinphony didn't choose at random. It chose those who carried sorrow, those who tried to bury grief. Aria had left Ravenshade to escape her mother's death, but the grief had followed her. Now it bound her.